Megan Williams is the VP of Global Technology Strategy and Transformation at TransUnion. And Megan is going to talk about how we align our technology initiatives with organizational culture. Megan, over to you. I will give you the very important clicker.
Oh, thank
there
you.
There we are. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to put that down there. Okay, hey everyone. Good news is I plan to only about 15, 20 minutes, so you're good. I did realize this morning two things. The one is that I'm the person standing between you and happy hour, which is fantastic. I'm really excited about doing that to you. The other is I'm an IT person, computer science major, and I'm here to talk about change management to a room full of HR people. So literally, I'm going to spend the next 15 minutes mansplaining to you what I think is important about digital transformation. So, okay, I've actually got the button here. Okay, this is me. Okay, so two important quotes here about company culture. Satisfied employees are more efficient and innovative, leading to better performance and customer satisfaction. And company culture can lead to increased productivity, higher revenue, and employee retention. The key here is culture, right? If you've got a good company culture, you're going to save money because you're not continually recruiting and training new people. And also you are going to increase productivity. If people are happy and collaborative, you're going to increase productivity and you're going to generate more revenue. That's what the slide says. Positive company culture improves performance and leads to revenue growth. And we're saving on recruitment. So that is fantastic. And then IT comes along. We decide we're going to do a massive digital transformation and we completely mess up the company culture. Digital transformations are large, multi-year events and they tend to disrupt. So we go from having this fantastic company culture, we're productive, we're making money, we're saving by not having to recruit, and we cue culture shock. The culture shock is often associated when we move countries, right? So if we look at this graph here, you move to a new country, you go through that honeymoon period, then you realize you can't actually speak the language, you can't open a bank account, you don't know how to get cable TV for your kids, the school isn't what you thought it would be, it's a different environment. But you start to adjust, you adapt, maybe you learn the language, and within 12 months you come out of the other side. The difficulty with this graph is it always assumes that you successfully navigate the culture shock. I personally know two families who immigrated and within 3 months were back in the country that they came from. I worked with a guy who moved his entire family from the UK to New Zealand. And within 3 months, they were back on a plane to the UK. Their worldly goods were in a ship on the way to New Zealand, and they were landing back in London. Another family they moved from South Africa to Australia, and also 3 to 6 months they were back. It's similar. It's similar. So, I'm going to go with like a little poll here to keep you all awake before happy hour. How many of you think that for digital transformations, 30% fail? 50%? 70%? Okay, the answer, according to McKinsey, is that 70% of digital transformations ultimately fail. 70%. If you think about that, right? Out of every 10 of you, only 3 of you are being successful in your digital transformation. And I think like going through everything we've talked about today and all the people, the analytics and all the AI, etc., probably most of us are going through a digital transformation. And now I'm telling you that 7 of you are going to fail. Not great. The good news, especially for your HR people, and here comes the mansplaining, lack of change management is almost always cited as the top reason for failure. People can say people, process, technology, and if someone says it to me again, I'm going to hit my head against a brick wall. It's the people. And I'm telling you that, and I'm the IT geek. I promise you I am. ProSci ascertains that organizations that follow a clear change management strategy are 6 times more likely to succeed. 6 is a lot. 6 times is a lot. That's a good factor, right? If you look at the 70% failure, now you're 6 times more likely to succeed. Okay, and here comes Meg's lessons learned about how I think we need to navigate that culture shock, and where I think it's really key with digital transformation. Having a clear vision. Being very clear on what you're trying to achieve in your digital transformation. Where are you going to? What is your B? We're going from A to B, but what is B? What is your nirvana, and what are you trying to achieve out of your business digital transformation? Being transparent with your people, being open and honest about how you are on that journey. Far too often on digital transformations, we talk very positively about this is fantastic, this is great, we're building, we're growing, we're changing, we're getting AI, and we're not acknowledging how difficult it is for the people that are on the journey. Putting people at the center, I've said it before, people are assets, they are not a commodity, and it is important to acknowledge that. Embracing failure, having supportive leadership, and having a clear roadmap. Okay, I'm going to quickly go through those in more depth. Yay, you're shot. Okay, so with the vision, this one's really important. And at TransUnion, when with our cloud transformation, it was very clear that we wanted to save money and we wanted to be scalable, right? Having that vision made it really easy for people to understand why we were doing what we needed to do. We're now embarking on a modernization transformation, and if you talk to Venkat, our CTO, he is so excited about what we're doing that when you talk to him, it's tangible. But the difficulty that I have is how do I take that one and ignite it in the 7,000, right? And that's just the 7,000 that are in the global technology organization. But if you've got that vision, if you've got a Venkat who's very clear and excited about what his goal is, where we want to be in the next 2 years, it's far easier to get people to follow along with the journey. One of the things Venkat often says is, think about the resume you're going to write in 2 years' time, about that you've gone through this amazing transformation and that we've modernized onto this platform. And if there are any IT geeks in the room, I can talk about the modernization we're doing at TransUnion. It's super cool, but that's another day. That's a discussion for another day, or maybe happy hour. Okay, transparency. The biggest mistake we made at TransUnion during our cloud transformation was, as leaders, whenever we spoke with the kind of the broader people group, we kept talking about how things are going well. This is great. Our cloud transformation's happening. We're moving to the cloud. We're going to save money. We're going to be scalable. We're closing these data centers. It's fantastic. What we didn't acknowledge is how hard it was for people. People were working really hard. People were changing jobs. People were uncertain about what their roles were going to be. And we didn't really acknowledge the difficulty that they were having, or that they were seeing that we weren't performing as well as we thought. That was, I'm sure a lot of you know, you are never green, right? You're generally around the yellow or red. We're either at risk or we're off track. And it took us a while to realize that by being so positive, we were totally losing our audience because they felt like we didn't understand what they were going through. So the moment we were able to pivot and say, we've had to change some of our strategy. Some of the ideas we thought would be easy, we're finding them difficult. Some of the things we thought we were going to do, we're not going to be able to achieve those anymore. Going back to the 70% failure, McKinsey would say we had failed because as soon as you deviate from that initial path, you're onto that 70%. I was going to tell you that earlier, but I like the shock factor of the 70%. But it is key that you are able to pivot your strategy and you are able to then tell people we're moving. We thought we were going to go into this piece of the cloud, but actually we're going to have to stay on this path because security says it's the right thing to do because we're in a certain time frame. We've got a certain budget. The other thing, there's a great TED talk by a guy called Julian Treasure, How to Speak So That People Want to Listen. Find it. I think they'll hand these slides out, or take a picture. I don't know. That's not on the slide. Ask me about it afterwards. He talks about 7 deadly sins of speaking, and he talks about gossip, judging, negativity, complaining. And I think when you're on that path of this is going so well, we're all doing fantastically, we're getting to the cloud, and you don't speak about the challenges enough, then those deadly sins happen. People are at the water cooler talking. I'm going to be honest, when we were doing our our cloud transformation, it was during COVID, so no one was at a water cooler, but people were talking about they were gossiping. They felt like that we'd lost them, right? And that's a real problem, because once you get into that negative spiral, you're down that culture shock graph and you're not coming back out. I've gone a little bit blank, so I'm going to go to the next slide. Okay, this is my favorite one. There's a guy who works for me called Arthur. He keeps saying to me, Meg, I want to be an asset, not a commodity. There's been a lot of layoffs in the tech industry in the last 18 months. And I think more and more there are a lot of highly talented people who've realized they weren't the commodity they thought they were. They are just an asset. And I think that's really sad, because I think people are your asset. It's not only what I think, the statistics are there, right? The piece about revenue and growth and savings from having a happy and good culture that brings people together and not allowing your digital transformation to mess that up is really key. So here we go. Recognize people, acknowledge what they're doing, and reward them. One thing we did do, which was really good, was we had a lot of training when we did our cloud transformation, and as we're doing our modernize as well, we've curated training for people so that they are able to look at how I'm going to reskill, how I'm going to move from the current role I have to the new role, and that they are valued as a commodity. Sorry, as an asset. I really messed that one up. How they are valued as an asset to the organization now in their current role and where they're going to be in their future role. Okay, this poor girl looks so sad. This is actually a good slide. It's about embracing failure, right? It's really important to allow people to feel like they have autonomy and that they are trusted, so that they can make decisions, and then they will thrive and you will have a creative environment. Embracing failure in digital transformation is essential to fostering innovation and continuous improvement. It really is important. Fail fast, fail early, allow people to have that safe space, and give them that autonomy and trust. Okay, supportive leadership. When people ask me what kind of leader do I want to be, I always say I want to lead by example. And I have a great story about the CEO of a company called Beazley Insurance. It's a Lloyd's underwriting syndicate in London. Andrew Beazley insisted that we had a very open plan office. And we're talking about 2000, so 24 years ago. Very open plan office. No one had individual offices from the CEO down. And then in 2004, we listed on the London Stock Exchange. And for compliance and regulatory reasons, he as the CEO had to have an office. So he built a glass cubicle in the middle of the open plan office. It was totally transparent on all four sides. And he never sat in it. He sat on a desk outside his office. But he did what he was told, which was important for regulation and compliance. But he truly was that supportive leader who didn't want people to feel like he was unapproachable or that there was this hierarchy driving the company. Now, I do think hierarchy is important in organizations. I think flat structures make it really difficult to operate. But I don't think because of hierarchy doesn't make you more important to other people. And that was something that Andrew Beazley was just fantastic at. Okay, this is the second last slide, but don't worry, the next slide I'm not going to talk about. According to a 2023 article by Harvard Business Review, creating ambitious and focused transformation roadmaps are key to business leaders aligning efforts on specific domains that matter to customers and generate value. There's a film, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I use that quote far too often because I think when we start these digital transformations, everyone wants things now. They want it faster. They want it to happen as soon as they can because we've spoken about this vision and everyone's really excited and it's going to take us 2 years to get there and they want to see it happen right now. And then the board's given us millions of dollars and they want to see how their money's being spent. And then there's chaos. So it's really important for people to see where you're going, to see how we're going to get from A to B. And these are the reasons for that, right? If you don't have the roadmap of how you're going to get to that vision and it's just a lot of gray, chaos absolutely ensues. If you've got the roadmap, it allows you to align and coordinate. People know where they're going. You know where you need to focus your people. It allows you to mitigate risk because you can see around the corner. You can see, I hate this phrase, the long pole in the tent, but the critical path, and try and go for the things that are further out to try and reduce those timescales. You can understand how to allocate your resources. If you've got a whole lot of work streams, which is the key work stream that's going to take the longest, and therefore where do we need to move people? And then, and this is so important, being able to measure and adjust along the way, so that even if McKinsey says you've probably failed because you've had to adjust, at least you are able to adjust, because you kind of have those steps to get there, and now you realize you're going to have to add some more steps, but you're still looking at the way you're going to get there. So that's it. Keep people at the heart of digital transformation. It's going to increase the likelihood of success. Thank you.
We do have time for some Q&A. I always loathe to do Q&As when it's the last session of the day, but if people do have questions, please put your hands up. And we do have a microphone to go around. I don't think the drinks will be available for a few minutes, so that encourages any questions.
Exhausted.
Any questions at all? Yes, right at the end there. So we will bring a microphone for you, because we definitely won't hear you from that far away.
Thank you. So I have a question for you about digital transformation and leadership. And do you have any helpful hints on how to get them to adopt the new technology? Right, getting them to navigate the dashboards and use them instead of picking up the phone can be a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a really difficult question to answer. I think, I do, in a micro environment, that I have a tool that I use every day, and I do, when I'm talking to leaders above me, I do reference, like, I'm just going to show you this dashboard that I'm using from, I don't want to say the wrong, and this is how I'm using it, and this is why it's useful to me, and let me explain that it's at the touch of a button. But it is difficult. I find that like, I'm not really sure how we navigate that, especially with very senior leaders. Like, they just want to be able to sit on a call and look at a PowerPoint and feel like they know what's happening, or for you to do that work for them. But I think if it's key, and you instead of, like, this is what I say to my team as well, is stop using PowerPoint, use the tool that we're using, because that, like, show that to them. We don't need to prepare a PowerPoint, even if we're presenting to the CTO or even the CEO. Let's show them our source of truth that we're using to get the metrics that we're putting in front of them.
Thank you. Time for one more. As someone who works outside HR and involved in transformation, how important is HR as a transformation partner for you?
For me, very important. It's been, I've felt at TransUnion, especially our partnership with HR, is really key. Just in terms of being able to get advice from them, also where they're able to say, guys, you need to slow down on this, or you need to think about what you're saying. You need to really work out how you're communicating, who you're communicating to. The training piece was really key, and that came from our HR partners as well. So yeah, I think HR is absolutely in the middle of digital transformation. And I think without them, you're on McKinsey 70%.